I like most people. And they've done me a favour by being photographed. And I'm doing them a favour by photographing them, so I figure it's a fair exchange. Camera never lies. I was born in 1938, but I grew up in the East End when it was really rough. Mr. Hitler was trying to kill me for about 6 or 7 years, whatever it was, 5 years. But I managed to dodge the bombs. The only real memories I've got is I used to pull my sister under the table when the bombs started coming down. It's just poor. You know, you can't do much if you're poor. People don't realise when you've got no money, you've got nothing at all. I did national service in Malaya and Singapore. I was told I was going to be in the Air Force for 2 years, and that was it. You couldn't say, no, I don't want to be in that. Cameras were very cheap, so that's where I got my first camera that I owned. And it was a Rollop, it was called, which was an English copy of a German camera called a Rolleiflex. But it was all right for what I wanted at the time. It's all I could afford. In fact, I still got the pawn tickets to the Chinese pawn shop where I used to pawn it to buy film and then get it back to take pictures, then put it back in full to get through the weeks. Oh, I came back and sort of couldn't find a proper job. I wanted to be an assistant to a good photographer. I only really knew about 2 good English photographers. I didn't know much about art photography or anything like that, but John French and Tony Armstrong-Jones were the 2 photographers I knew. I wrote them both letters, and both of them replied and offered me jobs. So it was fortuitous, really. I like girls. That's why I chose fashion. I thought women were great. And they asked me if I'd like to photograph girls wearing dresses, which was a magazine called Woman's Own or something. And then Vogue phoned me up, and as far as I could see, they were the same magazines. They just, one was a bit more expensive than the other one. And they just to think that you get paid to photograph beautiful women was a very good idea. Jean was my favourite model. I mean, we worked together so easy because she knew a nod or something meant, and so she'd do it. She was good. She always knew where the light was. The picture on the wall of Jean and with the big, it's a complete 60s picture. It's got the parking meters that I think was fairly new to England, but not new to New York. It's got a twist on the wall. It's got all signposts. They got a gay guy walking by in a leather jacket and white jeans, and Jean trying to cross the road. Just look at the picture if you want to know about New York in the 60s. Jean used to go to the Ad Lib, which was the trendiest club in London, I suppose. She used to sit in the corner and knit, which was quite amusing with all these Mick Jaggers and John Lennon's running around, and there's Jean in the corner knitting away. I mean, Mick was my great friend anyway, because he was going out with her sister, Chrissy Shrimpton, so we saw a lot of each other. So Mick and I spent a lot of time together in the early 60s, whenever it was. Mick's good fun. John was a bit more of an anarchist. I related more to John than I did to Paul. Paul was a sweet guy. I got on better with John because he was an arsehole like me, so I preferred John to Paul. Paul's such a nice guy. They're all kind of anarchists anyway. I hate planning things. I like things to happen. Quite like mistakes, because mistakes lead you to that red drip that goes over there. You think, oh, I'll go after that red drip. And they change everything. I'm not mad about celebrities. I like to do interesting people. Andy Warhol changed everything in a funny sort of way. As a painter, he's the most interesting. He just had a view of life that everything had a point of view, which I think is good. We got to do a film together, and I got him to talk, which was kind of an achievement, I think. We were driving along in a car, and he said, Bailey, do you ever wonder about all the people that made buttons?
I always want to know who invented the button, or who was the person who ever thought of making buttons, or why they ever thought of buttons.
And I thought, It's a question I'd never asked or heard asked before, and I thought it was a good question to ask. Because when you think about it, everyone's got a life, even people that make buttons. So it was quite an interesting observation. Oh, the Warhol film got banned, but that was all right, it made it more famous. Oh, there's the Queen. One of the nicest ladies I've ever met. And I'm not saying that because she's the Queen. Mind you, I've got no other queens to put her against. She was fantastic to work with, so easy. I mean, she's one of the best queens I've ever met. Asked how much her jewellery was. I said, is it fake? And she laughed and they got her to start smiling. Well, I try to capture their personalities. I don't mind if they're in a bad mood or a good mood, because both things can lead to something good. I'd rather take pictures than have lunch. I always have a camera everywhere I go. You never know. Just an East End kid, I mean, with no education. I suppose they thought I'd end up being a bricklayer or something. Probably not that good even, just a labourer. All my life it's been a good time for me to live. So I'm perfectly happy now. And I suppose I'll be perfectly happy next week if I make it. It's a long road to Sotheby's from East Ham. I've said that before, but from East Ham to Sotheby's is a long road.